There's apparently a hidden message inside Adidas's new World Cup ball, but more on that later, because in today's video I'm going to be answering some of the biggest mysteries in football. For example, how much do players get paid to wear Nike football boots, what's inside the Adidas Smart Ball, and at the end of the video I'll be answering an interesting question from Buffon about goalposts. So this is Nike's secret football. Now, this ball looks pretty cool, but why is it called a secret football, I hear you ask? Well, in 2002, this ball was front and center of what the Nike president at the time called their most successful advertising campaign ever. It was part of a football commercial called The Secret Tournament, and the reason I say this is because I want to uncover the mystery of how much Nike will spend to advertise their football products. Right, so I've done some research, and this commercial was part of a $100 million campaign that Nike spent across the World Cup in 2002. So this just gives you an idea on the amount of money these companies spend on their commercials, and also explains why a pair of football boots costs around 300 quid.
And that leads us nicely on to football boot contracts. We see players wearing football boots, but are they getting paid to wear them? And if so, how much?
So the football boot industry is worth around £18 billion, but how much do companies like Nike and Adidas pay players to wear their football boots, and how does a football boot contract work?
Now, to investigate this more, I wanted to find out what's the most worn pair of football boots in the Premier League.
Right, so I'm in busy Oxford Street, about to buy the most worn pair of boots in the Premier League. Let's go.
So these are the Nike Mercurials, and last year were the most worn boots in the Prem, with over 100 players choosing them as their choice of footwear. But was it really a choice? So the current most lucrative boot deals are reported as follows. Neymar at number 1, earning £23 million a year from Puma. Haaland on a cool £20 million from Nike. Before a year ago, it's crazy to think that Haaland never even had a boot deal. And Messi earning £18 million a year from Adidas. Now these figures are insane, and it's interesting to think what players would actually wear if there was no money involved. I know back in the day Messi used to wear Nike boots, so are these his real preference? These are some crazy numbers, but it's clearly worth it for the big brands who can have their products seen by millions of fans every week.
So yeah, it's clear that companies will pay players millions of pounds to wear their football boots. Now, whilst I can't afford to pay people to wear football boots, I'm going to leave these here so the next passerby can get a feeling of what it's like to be sponsored by a big football brand. Now, this next mystery is about socks. More specifically, why do football players cut holes in them? Players like Jude Bellingham and Kyle Walker have been seen cutting holes in their socks. But why do they do it?
So I wore the socks a bit to see if I could figure out why players have been cutting holes in them.
Right, so I've had a mess around and a test with these socks, and I think the answer is actually pretty simple. It's literally just for comfort reasons, to make them more comfortable. If the socks are too tight, the players will cut holes in them so they're more comfortable, which also asks the question, why don't companies make bigger socks? Now, later on in the video, I'll be taking a look at a potential hidden message inside Adidas's new World Cup ball. But now I want to take a look at another Adidas product that has baffled me ever since I first used it. This is one of, if not the most technically advanced footballs on the planet, and it's called the Adidas My Coach Smart Ball. Now, I want to find exactly what's inside this ball that makes it so clever, but first let me test it out and show you what it does. Right, so I've got the app, I connect it to the ball, and then I just kick, tap and ready, and now it's just downloading the data from the ball. And then as you can see, it tells me all the stats I need to know. I just kicked the ball 57 miles per hour. There was 187 revolutions per minute of spin on the ball, and it shows exactly the position where I kicked the ball. But the mystery is, what's inside it and how does it work? Because if you look online, it comes up with pictures like this, which looks like something out of a science fiction film. So I'm not sure how true that actually is. But now let's take the ball home and find out for ourselves. Right, so I have the smart ball here. This is an old one that no longer works. Let's see why it's so clever. Whoa, that's actually crazy. Let's go a bit more. I'll try and get a cross section of the ball. That is actually really cool. God, it's hard to cut. I didn't expect it to actually look like this inside. All right, we're nearly there. It seems really tough at this part of the ball. Why is this part so hard to cut? Whoa, that is cool. There we go. I'm not sure if you can even see that. I'm gonna have to cut some of these things off. So this is inside, and it's basically this ball here that's got what looks to be a computer chip inside, connected to all these wires that connect to all the different parts of the ball. Absolutely crazy. So now you know how the smart ball works, But this next mystery involves some bright pink juice. Now, this next mystery involves this juice right here. After their title-winning season in 2016, Leicester City spoke high praise of this strange pink liquid right here. But what is it?
Now, this is beetroot juice, and it's said to have a lot of insane benefits when it comes to performance on the pitch.
Now, before I tell you how this juice works, let's give it a taste test. Oh, that is strong stuff. Beetroot juice is also thought to help with recovery and reduce muscle soreness. The season Leicester won the league, they noted having fewer injuries than any other team. Now, this could be a coincidence, or has this juice got something to do with it? And according to science, beetroot juice is thought to improve decision making and increase sprint speed on the pitch. I guess they don't call it a superfood for nothing.
Next up, let's take a look at referees. There's a lot of mystery around how they're selected for games, how much they get paid, and how fit they need to be. Now, most refs in the Premier League will most likely support a team themselves, and the FA doesn't allow them to officiate a team that they support. This is to avoid them being biased, but they also ban them from reffing games that involve their direct rivals too. Although refs are very professional, it's just to make sure there's no chance of match fixing going on. It's said that on average, a Premier League ref will get paid £1,116 per game and over £800 as a VAR assistant. They also need to be in good physical condition, as on average they'll run over 10 kilometres per game. This is more than a lot of the players. So there's a little insight into the world of referees.
Now, I couldn't make this video without doing a little segment on football boots, more specifically answering the question as to why Ronaldo did this to his.
Now, this is Ronaldo's secret football boot hack. Ronaldo used to wear extremely tight football boots.
Tell you what, it is a bit of a nightmare to put these things on. But when they're on, they feel very snug and very tight.
He thought that it would help him when dribbling, as his foot would be closer to the ball and he could have more accurate touches. I tried it myself and it definitely does help a bit. But by the end of the session, my feet were destroyed. Speaking of Ronaldo, have you heard about the mysterious Ronaldo rule? It's a term used to describe a transfer policy that was enacted by Man United in 2023. It was to ensure that no one in the Man United dressing room would be paid significantly more than anyone else, meaning players' wages would be capped at £200,000 per week, because before this policy, Ronaldo was on a whopping £385k per week. Now, the Ronaldo rule is pretty easy to understand, but this next mystery is going to take a little more working out.
Now we're answering the mystery of the impossible goal, which has many fans questioning how it even went in.
This is the so-called phantom goal or ghost goal, the most mysterious goal in football, and I'm going to see if I can recreate it and try and understand how it happened.
I'm just going to throw it. So I've tried it now and there's just no sign of it going in. And if I'm honest, I think there's a pretty simple explanation. There was simply a hole in the net. Next up, we've got one for you goalkeepers out there. There's a special catch done by Casper and I want to try and make sense of it.
In Denmark, goalies are taught to catch the ball in this very unusual way. Just by looking at the catch, it's hard to figure out exactly how he does it, but let's try and learn.
Right, the Casper catch, let's just have a go at it. Oh, that wasn't it. There it is. You've got to kind of let it bounce off the chest. Oh, that was one. When it's in there, it does trap it really hard. Right, Casper catch. So I guess that's an answer to one of the most unknown catches in goalkeeping. This is the 2020 World Cup ball called the Al Rilla. Now, Adidas' potential hidden message inside this ball was completely overlooked by me and probably many others. Because just by looking at it at face value, it's pretty much impossible to see. And in fact, there's only one person that I've seen even mention it.
So, ball maker and content creator John Paul came up with a potential theory about the Adidas Al Rilla ball, and he's the only person I've actually seen mention Adidas' hidden message. But that would make sense, as he's got a more keen eye for these things than most. When creating his own version of the World Cup ball, John cut up the Al Rilla to get a good look at the panel structure, and that's when he noticed something strange. Now, I'll leave it with John to show you the theory, as I think he explains it a lot better than I can.
The entire ball is just made from connected Adidas flower logos. That's all the ball is. It's not exactly the right shape, but it's close enough to make me think that it probably was intentional. My theory is that the construction was initially explored based on the shape of the logo, but obviously some small tweaks to the shape needed to be made for the cells to come together to create a sphere. These tweaks were enough to go against the brand guidelines, and a decision was made to somewhat disguise or de-emphasize that shape in the construction.
So there it is. Did Adidas leave a hidden message inside the new World Cup ball? I'll let you guys be the judge of that one. Now, to finish off this video, I want to take a look at the goalpost dilemma.
So what do you think about modern day goalposts? They've remained the same for over 150 years, but could it finally be time for a change?
Now, FIFA want to make a change to the goalposts. This was after a proposal by Italian goalkeeper Buffon. He suggests that the size of the goalposts aren't suitable for the modern game, and he suggests they need to be slightly enlarged to allow for more goals and make football more entertaining. Now, if you look at keepers from 50 years ago and compare them to today, it's clear that today they're a lot better. They're a lot taller and more athletic and can reach just about everywhere in the net, but the size of the goal hasn't changed at all. So I'll end this video by asking a question to you guys. Is it time to finally change the goalposts, or should we keep them the same?